Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. This week we've been enjoying some pretty adult insights into faith and life with God through children's nursery rhymes. And maybe you remember this one. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep and can't tell where to find them. Leave them alone and they'll come home, bringing their tails behind them. Now, before we go any further, we need to talk briefly about that last line. The version of the poem I used said, bringing their tails behind them, but I need to admit up front that there is disagreement about those tails. Some versions of the rhyme say they are wagging their tails behind them, and I have to say that I don't know if sheep wag their tails. It's kind of a nice image that they would be happy to be coming home, but I don't know. And then some other versions of this rhyme say dragging their tails behind them, which I suppose gives you the exact opposite feeling about them heading home. Or maybe the sheep were enjoying their newfound freedom and weren't happy to be heading home and back to the rules that normally govern their lives. In some ways, we are both, sometimes finding the strictures of faith confining, and sometimes overjoyed to be home with Christ. Just like Little Boy Blue, there's actually a reference in Shakespeare's King Lear that could lead to this little poem, but the best suggestion is that it comes out of a game we still play with young children, peekaboo. People would hide their eyes and say, Bo, and then suddenly appear and say, peep. And if you know a young child, you know they never get tired of that game. So what's this got to do with faith? Well, I think the image of Little Bo Peep anxiously searching for her sheep ought to remind us of God searching for us. So much of popular religion talks about searching for and finding God. But what we as Lutherans should talk about most is God searching for us. We are a people of grace, and our way of understanding is not that we find God, but rather that God finds us. In yesterday's talk, we talked about the parable of the prodigal son and how his life had fallen apart. Today, I want to go a little further into the story to how the young man decides to head toward home. I'll offer to be a servant, he thinks, but at least I'll have food. But as the boy approaches home, there's the most astounding detail in the story. The father is out on the porch actively searching to see if his boy is coming home. Day after day, he's scanning the horizon, hoping, yearning, aching for his son to return. We don't know how long the boy had been gone, clearly long enough to spend his entire inheritance. But there the father is. This father to whom the son had said, "Let it be to me as if you are dead." There he is looking and searching for his son. And then the most amazing thing of all, when he sees the boy, he runs to meet him. In New Testament times, it was considered very undignified and unseemly for a man, particularly the patriarch of a family, to run. But this father sacrifices his dignity and everything else in his joy to have the son back. And just like that, so God searches for us and gives up everything to have us back, to claim us as God's own. It's an image of God scanning the horizon for us, hoping, yearning, aching for us to be home with him. No matter where we have wandered off, God searches for us. It's a matter of grace. And when we are welcomed by God, I bet our tails will be wagging. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.